What's up, everybody? Today we got some trees to cut down in the backyard. The trees have some issues, so that's why they're coming down, and they're too close to the house, so I'm afraid that they're going to at some point blow over and fall onto the house. So let me show you what we're dealing with. A hollow hickory, a hickory that the top blowed out of, and it's kind of deformed shaped, and that big hickory down there is dead. These hickories are pretty massive trees, and they're pretty close to the house. I like having my trees, but I like having my house more. I got to get all the brackets and squirrel feeders off of these things, but this thing's hollow. Not sure how hollow, but it is a big hickory tree. This one, like I said, the top's blowed out of, and the last one is leaning away from the house, but the bark splitting down here, and it only had a couple little branches out here that had some leaves on it this year. So before winter hits, before we get any ice storms, I want to get all these trees taken down. It's actually leaning back that direction, so still not towards the house, but it could roll, and it's too close. If it was to roll just the right way, it could land in a place we don't want it to. So now this little one that's kind of deformed that the top's broke out of, I think it's really about the only one that's leaning a lot towards the house. So these two for sure, I'm gonna crawl up there as high as I can with a ladder and tie a chain around it, and then I'll end up hooking the bulldozer to it. I'll have my father pull on them while I make the cuts on them, get these things pulled away. So the first thing we got to do, take these squirrel feeders off, unscrew those from the tree. I'll get all that stuff off and then move some of the kids' toys around where I don't crush them, and go get the chainsaws, ladder, chains, and the bulldozer. I'll probably get the big tractor, put the pallet forks on it, and I'll chunk up the trunk and pick it up with pallet forks and carry it down to the other side of the pond where me and John can get to it down there. Get it cut up for firewood. Usually not a fan of cutting up hickory and splitting it. It's pretty stringy, but can't really choose the type of trees that was here before I built my house. Well, that's what's on the agenda today. Hopefully it turns out the way I'm hoping. that worked out good. We got all 3 of these hickory trees down. See that one? It fell off in the timber, which is fine. I got to take a bunch of that timber out too. Got it drug out of the way. That one that the top was broke out of, and then the big hollow one that I think I'm going to cut them up in 10 to 12 foot chunks and use the big tractor with the forks and just carry them out across the pond. Definitely having a 550G, that made a huge difference. I pulled a lot of trees before, leaning over fences and stuff like that with trucks and tractors. Dozer is a lot handier. I'm really glad it worked out, because it could have been bad. Anytime you're dealing with a residence or a home or outbuilding and you got a tree by it, it's always kind of nerve-wracking a little. But we planned what we were going to do beforehand, how we were going to do it. We looked at the trees. None of them were leaning really hard except for the dead one over here. It was leaning back that way more than the other ones were. So I would have liked to have got a longer ladder. I didn't have a longer ladder, but I would have liked to have got a little bit higher in the tree to put that chain around. But it is what it is. I knew that dozer could pull. It pulls and pushes very well. So just glad that everything worked out. Okay, I've got a new product I'm going to try out. I got it for my son to help him since he's just now starting to cut wood. It is I've seen people use these before. It's got a magnet on one side and just a mark on the other. It goes from 16 inches all the way up to I believe 29. You can see you just set however size long log you need, lock it in, stick that to your bar, then you can just go by, make all your marks on your log and take it off and then cut them at the marks. I think it'll help my son out. I haven't ever used one, but I'm going to give this one a try and just see what I think about it. Well, this is a first. I've owned this MS290 since it was brand new, and I somehow have lost the gas cap. So now I've got to try to find that gas cap and see if I can reattach it. It looks like it may fit right into that little ball. Yeah, it looks like it pops into that, so I don't know. I've owned this all for a long time. That is a first for me. I was making a cut right over there and I noticed the gas pouring out of it. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have ever had this happen with yours. The 170 doesn't have that style of caps. They screw on and screw off. These are like a quarter, half turn, and then it snaps over and kind of locks it in. But this is definitely a first, and I've owned that saw for a long time. So hopefully I can find it. Okay, knock on wood, I found it. Right here. hopefully I can get this thing reattached and keep going. So looks like it's just got that little spot there that this ball fits into. Okay, it is reattached. Still not sure why that came off. It's never happened, but it's the first time for everything. Okay, it's on there like it should. Now I'm cutting these logs up every 16 inches. Every 8th cut at 16 inches, which is going to be, I think, a little over 10 foot. I'm cutting it. That way I can pick this up with the big tractor with pallet forks and carry it over to the other side of the pond where me and John can finish cutting it up and getting it split. 16 inches is kind of what most people cut around here, what they sell it for. So I lost my help for today. John wanted to go hunting and his grandpa wanted to take him, so he's out in the back, so hopefully he gets something. Well, I got most of these chunked up for the most part. It's chunked up so we can pick it up with the tractor and carry it off. This one here, I've got cut up all the way to the bend up there. We'll still have to finish delimbing it. I've got it chunked up in those 8 16-inch sections. So we'll finish getting the limbs off all this and start getting all this stuff carried out. And I'll come back and cut all these stumps down real low. And I'll probably end up renting a stump grinder to get rid of these stumps out here. Them limbs are pretty good size. This limb right here, it's almost as big as that middle tree, the smallest one that we cut down. That limb's almost as big as that trunk. I don't know how many ricks of wood are going to be in this, these 3 set of trees, but it's going to be quite a bit of hickory wood. The stuff's pretty hard still. Even that dead one's pretty hard. It's the next day. I got the big tractor down here with the pallet forks on it. I'm going to go ahead and try to pick some of these big trunks up and get them moved over out of the way and just kind of free up some space. Okay, that's a whole lot better out here. Got a lot of the pieces of trunk. The dead one that was over there, all of it's hauled off. Well, the chickens are happy about it. The deformed one, most of it's hauled off, and a good bit of this big one. We still got some more to cut, clean out of the yard. A lot of sticks to pick up. We'll get started on getting all these limbs cut up, get out of here. We'll get the brush piled up somewhere here in the yard, and the rest of this trunk and these big limbs hauled off to the little pile I've got out in the pasture. We'll probably have a weenie roast for the kids out of the brush fire. They'll really enjoy that. Okay, since we've got most of the trunks hauled up out of here, I think I'm going to go ahead and fire up the dozer and kind of push some of this stuff out and around, just so I can make it a little easier to work around there. Pile there. This one I got pushed up here by the stump, so I can get it with the tractor. There's still quite a bit of wood in this thing. And then another one of the limbs over there we got cut off. I'll get this thing de-limbed here in the next day or so, and get it carried off to the other side of the pond. If you found any information helpful or enjoyed watching this kind of thing, consider subscribing. Please like the video. We got a lot more projects like this around here. A lot of timber to cut, clear out, a lot of areas to clean up so we can get food plots in next year for next deer season. I've got some huts I got to get built for the mama cows, so during the winter time they can get in out of the rain, out of the wind. And I've got another chicken coop I've got to get built. But anyways, thanks for watching.